Yeah. I mean, that's the goal. Like, I like tear up thinking about it because like for me, I want you to have that hope because your hope and belief is what is going to project onto your son. And when you have that and you know where to go for that, it's a relief. And I mean, I feel this.
Mm-hmm. We've come a very long way and we still have a ways to go.
But
I feel hopeful. Yeah. I think just thinking back to where we were, I mean, a 3-year-old who really didn't have a big concept of what the bridge was or, really why I'm being dropped off at school. Why do I have to go? And was really not verbal at all or was just crying. And throughout the course of the past year has been verbal, has been responsive, and even sometimes initiative at school has been really something to see. So I think we have a lot to be hopeful about going forward, and it's exciting.
It is. It really is.
I mean, coming to CommuniCamp at this point in time I think it set the tone for the school year. It set the mood.
Yeah.
It set, like, we're ready. We're going to start off on the right foot and just go from here.
And the confidence that your child is getting from camp and feeling like I can do this, that I have found that, coming right before school or even in the summer before, like I see myself in a school environment making this progress. But I don't want to forget to say something. It's harder for a 7th grader because they're not like, you can't have a teacher say, well, why don't you go and do your art? Because that's awkward, But in your case, the ease of transition is having an activity that teacher can lead your child to. So having centers in school are really important because if they bring them to a table to sit with a buddy to do a coloring activity, they're just sitting there doing that at the start of school rather than standing there waiting what to do. And also, like, whatever that routine is in the morning, and you may need to ask the teacher, but usually it's walk in, take my bag, put it in my cubby, but to kind of walk through that process and do it. Just to say, hey, let's see what the roadmap is. And you make it really upbeat and positive for these kids, where they can actually draw themselves walking in, putting my bag in my cubby and visualizing it. That visualization of the school day, and for her, your older child, it's really important to let her see in the morning at 8 to 9, I am in homeroom. In homeroom, then I go and I draw my map in the school. And then that visualization and that sense of control is incredible. I don't put too many goals on the kids at the start of the year. We train the teachers. We have them work their goals as a 7th grader. What do you want? What are your goals for this year? She's in 7th grade. We don't do that with a kindergartner or 1st grader. We don't say, what are your goals yet? Usually, unless they're so proactive and I want to use my words in school and help me do it. That is a percentage of kids. But for the most part, we want to do silent goals. That's parents setting up the world, the teachers setting up the world, teaching the teachers when to question, how to question. Just a simple act of focusing on visuals and not eye to eye for teachers is so important because it takes the expectation down. And also asking other children first so that your child isn't the first one because it gives them a chance to process the question. There's these so many ways, tidbits to help these children feel comfortable and safe and have a safe person. It's important even in 7th grade to have a counselor, a resource teacher, someone that is your safe person that can check in on your child. Almost like mama or papa at school. Do you have someone you can think about?
Yes, actually, when we had a little sort of meet and greet, or they called it a signing day back in June, and I had contacted them ahead of time, and I said, I don't know if she's going to separate. And so they had us come in, the principal and the guidance counselor had us come in the day before, and a counselor took her back to her office right away and gave her prizes, like squishies and sticky notes and things that kids love. And they already started to form that bond. And so it's really good to know that she's on their radar and she'll have somebody she can go to if she needs it.
Yeah, I would love you to praise not talking in school. Please don't. Praise. I was really proud of you today. You went into school. I was really proud of you. That was a great worksheet you did. But I want your praise to be not about talking. If your child comes home and goes, I talked to the teacher, what would be your language? You must have felt comfortable today. I don't want it to be great. Now that you talk to your teacher, are you going to talk to your art teacher, your music teacher, your gym teacher? Because our children need a roadmap even to talk. It's not like they're going to go in and be like, hi, how you doing, everyone? How was your summer? It's going to be over their tasks that they're going to start talking. So it may be their interview questions, but it might be red or blue. It might be, what you see what I mean? Is that a square or a circle? It may be, you know what I mean? Which book do you want to read, the first or the second? You see what I mean? It's going to be over the tasks that children begin to verbalize. I want that to be so clear because these children aren't going to go in and make random conversation yet. But there are many that are listening, parents going, but she does have spontaneous conversation with her peers. That's great. Your child is able to do it, but there are areas your child may need to work on. That may be more initiative with the teacher, more elaborative with the teacher. See what I mean? And we have to train the teachers not to ask choice questions, to maybe ask a direct and eventually an open-ended, but to use visuals to support. So we bridge from choice and direct up to open-ended and thought-provoking questions, and then we bridge down if need be. So it's just the strategies. I shouldn't say just the strategies, but in terms of IEPs and 504, the strategies are going to change and be tweaked based on the child's progress. And also, there's nothing wrong with you that they can email you about every Friday. So some parents are like, and I think one of you asked this question of, well, how do I know if my teachers are doing these things? Let me tell you something. You have every right to know, and these teachers are more than willing to tell you, but I would give them some sort of check off. Like, you know how we have the school about form? Mm-hmm. And in the school about form, it says, how comfortable is your child between 0 and 5? How is your child communicating with peers, teachers, small groups, large groups? And you can even give them the nonverbal, transitional, verbal. And so and any comments you have. That would be the greatest thing to get every Friday, just a check off. But it could be nothing more as how is my child doing? Mm-hmm. And as far as the goals go, I'm going to let you know that it doesn't even matter I'm saying something that I'm going to get listeners like, throw me axes. The IEP is important, but it's if they're implementing what's on there. And I think that's where you need your check-ins to see if it is being done. And I will tell you, at least for families that work with me, if I get school about forms that show progress, I know they're doing it. If I get school about forms that show no progress, they're either not doing it or they don't know how to do it. I can't tell you how that's true. And a lot of times they don't have a lot of time. But in a public school, they should have ancillary staff. And if your child is in preschool, you can get an IEP for preschool children with a disability. In your case, the school about form, we usually ask for 1 to 3 school about forms because I want to know what different teachers are seeing with your child, because your child may be thriving in one class, but in another class she's not. And it's usually the comfort and connection with the teacher, which is why meeting these teachers outside of school are really important, like after school or during lunch, and they meet to build that comfort.
So for the check-ins, should we suggest one for every teacher or like the safe person or like the counselor?
Well, sometimes you have your liaison that can gather that info once a week, and maybe once a week is too much. And they may go, that's a lot. Here's what I would say, because I'm also a mom. Mm-hmm. So I say it because I know what I would want, right? And I would say, would you do me a favor and just humor me for the first month? Just once a week, touch in. How is she doing? How is he doing? And then keep it at like once a week, and then go to once a month. At least for my families that I work with on a monthly basis, I get the school about forms every month because to me, I can't treat a child or help a child in school without knowing what she's doing in school. And I need those specific answers to be able to tweak their program, because when I write your report, I write, here's what the teachers should be doing. And then we ask the parents to please share that with the teachers. To me, it's not just what are you doing in therapy. Children can progress into speech pretty quickly with a therapist. It's what are you doing out there? What are your specific step-by-step goals and games your child is playing? And what is the teacher doing there? Because you're only with me for an hour or two. But what are they doing in all those other hours of their life and training you to do?